So I actually wanted to preface this video by mentioning my Facebook page. Yeah, that's a little bit different, but basically with all the craziness going on YouTube, the demonetization and the suppression of certain people's videos, I wanted to make a Facebook page as an alternate means to actually finding my content and hopefully a more reliable means of finding my content. I'm going to have it linked down below if you guys could like it or follow it or however that works. It's going to be an avenue for me to talk to you more directly, as well as I'm actually going to be posting all uploads there, so in case YouTube no longer shows them to you, which it has been doing, that's going to be another way to find them. Again, if you're interested, it's links down below. Otherwise, we'll just get right into the video. So Fallout 4 has a secret that hypothetically no one has found yet, or at least as of early 2016, no one has found, and there's been no other confirmation or denial since then. So what am I talking about? Basically, at DICE Summit, Todd Howard, the game director of Fallout 4, who would probably know about the secrets, when asked about any secrets in Fallout 4, said this: "There's a couple of things, but I don't want to say them. Players eventually will find them. There's one really good one that no one's really talked about. It's in a terminal somewhere." So then began the great quest to find this massive secret, and there's been a lot of effort, a ton of Reddit posts, some even made by me to help me work on this video, but again, nothing really seems like concrete, like yeah, that was definitely what we were searching for. Now mind you, all of this was going on in February of 2016, so well after Fallout 4 was released. It's not like people had already been through the entire game and probably most of them on their second playthrough. If there was a secret, most people would have found it already, so that's what made this so much more interesting. It seemed like it wouldn't be something that was immediately obvious. Maybe there's some kind of trigger or extra step you had to do to get to this secret. Plus the wording itself is kind of ominous. He says a terminal. Does he mean a terminal entry? That's what most people assume, but at the same time it could be interpreted as an airport terminal. We of course have a few of those scattered around the Commonwealth and in Far Harbor, most notably the Boston airport, but even searching through there, people have not really found that much. So maybe there's a third interpretation that people aren't thinking about. Either way, in this video I want to go through a few of the potential things people have put forward, what they think might be that secret answer. Again, none of this is confirmed. The secret technically remains a mystery, but maybe at some point we could get a confirmation or denial from Todd Howard. So one popular theory and one of the interpretations of that theory do lend it to a terminal entry about Gen 3 synths. Within the Institute you can find this terminal, and there's a bunch of cool stuff there, but really the last two bullet points are the things to note. It's talking about specific enhancements they made to the Gen 3 synth synthetic brain, two of those enhancements being an increased understanding of weapon accuracy, to the extent that the combatant can actually visualize the percentage of effectively hitting targets, or smaller areas of those targets, and then an altered sense of perception that mimics the effect of slowing or even stopping time. Did that sound familiar? Well, hopefully it did, because that just described VATS, one of the core fundamental features of all of the Fallout games. So more or less what it's saying is certain Gen 3 synths, not all Gen 3 synths, but just ones that receive these upgrades, can use VATS. So what are the Gen 3 synths? Well, these are the ones that actually are like the real human-like synths, the peak of Institute technology. Some Gen 3 synths we do know of are Dance and Mongolia. Those are the two in Fallout 4. There's a few others, and a quote is actually they are kind of indistinguishable from humans. You can't necessarily tell if they are a human or a synth, and even under medical testing. One other implication of this that may be connected is the two synths we did find in Fallout 3, that being Harkness as well as Armitage, were both Gen 3 synths, and you know, they had VATS hypothetically as you interacted with them in Fallout 3. I don't really know how that would tie back into this. I don't have a theory around that, it's just something to note. One theory that could spur from this, that could potentially be this grand reveal, is you are in fact a synth. I talked about this in actually one of my previous videos, basically saying that Nora was sent to spy on you or something like that, or maybe you impregnated her and then something happened to you and you started the Gen 3 synth program. You were the first Gen 3 synth created before the war, and then that's why your son Sean was chosen to be the director of the Institute. It made you a very notable candidate. But there's again not really a ton of confirmation. You can't infer that much from this singular terminal entry like Todd Howard kind of suggests. One other thing to note is that Dima as well as Nick Valentine aren't actually Gen 3 synths. They're kind of an intermittent gen. They're in between Gen 2 and Gen 3, so they probably don't have VATS themselves. But this also ties back to that dialogue with Dima. Are you actually a synth or are you not a synth? Could this be the big implication? Is it that the main character or main protagonist in Fallout 4 is in fact a synth? I don't know, but moving on to the next theory, it has to do with the Switchboard. I actually recently covered this because Slocum's Joe, which is where the Switchboard is hidden under, is actually getting some new content in the next Creation Club release round. Either way, if you guys don't know, basically next to the Super Duper Mart there is a unmarked location known as Slocum's Joe. It's like a donut and coffee shop. Underground, that created before the war, was the Switchboard. This was a secret government spying site. It was operated by the Defense Intelligence Agency, very similar to the real-world CIA. And the thing of note here is that P.A.M, the predictive analytical machine, was found here, and some people theorize created here. It doesn't really confirm or deny that she was created here, but but she was placed here because it was seen as a safer location, someplace that would be near major cities but not actually get bombed like the major cities. You guys probably know P.A.M. She was actually taken by the railroad. They found this location after the bombs drop, and they kind of reprogrammed her to not be the old her. So what was the old her? Well, basically the old P.A.M. was a super advanced machine. It was the peak of technology before the Great War, and she was built by the US government to hopefully predict when other people would attack. Specifically, she was used to know when China would actually launch their bombs, and she correctly predicted this. Or did she? That's one of the big theories surrounding P.A.M. It's not that she predicted China would start the Great War, but actually falsified this. There are terminal entries within the Switchboard talking about P.A.M. running some of these analytics, showing different scenarios, and of course her actually making this prediction. This would be another one where you have to kind of take a step back and make some inferences. The theory goes that basically P.A.M., this super high-tech machine, very similar to Skynet, maybe hated her human overlords or just wanted to wipe out the human race. There's a ton of explanations from other movies and video games as to why a robot would want to wipe out the human race. Maybe she saw them as kind of destroying the environment, being horrible creatures. The list goes on, but either way, she made the decision in her genius to actually falsify this and start the Great War. So of course there are also issues with this. There was a Chinese submarine found within Boston. There's a quest with that. Why was he there if they didn't actually start the Great War? Maybe he was just scouting things out, but at the same time he mentions how he launched all of his missiles, almost implying that he launched them first, as well as some of Far Harbor actually kind of doesn't coincide with this as much. Either way though, I definitely think this could be the one. Maybe Todd Howard didn't think of all the outstanding variables. Obviously a lot of people worked on the game, but if I was to put my money on one thing, I would actually wager it's this. I don't know, maybe we could ask him. Those are the two major theories. There's also a theory that it has something to do with the network scanner. This is a holotape you get if you're doing like the quest institutionalized inside job or outside the wire. Basically it's the holotape you use to take down the institute. The theory is that using this and loading it into a terminal, not the ones you're meant to, but one of the other ones in the Commonwealth, will actually reveal something that otherwise wouldn't be revealed. No one's really found anything with this, so if you want to test it yourself, feel free. But either way, those are some of the major theories surrounding this. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think any of these are plausible? There's really only two major ones here. Maybe I'm missing some, but those are the things I found largely and the things that seem the most plausible to me. As always, again, and thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.